From coast to coast and around the world, this is Kaleidoscope, America's most exciting radio magazine. Stay tuned for more.
Welcome. Hello, this is Jolly Jan with What's Your Viewpoint. In the background, we will be listening to Rivka Raz.
Linda laggiù giura, acércate al mio lado, te oiré la voz. Acércate al mio lado, te oiré la voz.
Good morning, Raphael.
Good morning, Janine.
Mi corazón llorando, él me dejó esperando sin tener piedad. Él me dejó esperando sin tener piedad.
As you can hear, this is Ladino music. If you'll remember, in our last show, we were talking all about the Kol Sephardic Choir. My co-host Raphael Ortasse, the director of this choir, has a special guest with us here in the studio today. And what do you have today for our listeners, Raphael? Can you explain?
I'll be delighted to do so. As I have promised you in the past, I invited for this morning, our guest, Arthr Ben Venisti.
Don't worry about what time of day it is. Anywhere in the world you can tune in on the internet. Sometimes it's day, sometimes it's night. And I'm very happy that we have this show on the internet. It's just a marvelous opportunity for people to hear what's going on. Continue.
Well, Arthr Ben Venisti is an expert on Converso Jews, and I invite him to talk about the subject of Converso Jews. He will explain who they are, where they will be found, but anyhow, I would like to introduce Arthr Ben Venisti.
Arthr Ben Venisti, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, what a beautiful voice you have.
Thank you.
Now, can you tell us, and our audience of course, a little bit about your background and who are the Conversos?
I was born in Los Angeles and lived here all my life, but my family comes from the island of Rhodes.
Rhodes?
They are Sephardic Jews, Ladino speaking, descended from those Jews who were expelled from Spain in 1492, where they maintained the old 15th century Spanish language and many of the customs of the Jews of that period.
How did the language come to be?
Well, it is essentially 15th century Spanish. As a matter of fact, the first time that I visited Spain, 1957, I was speaking to a man there, and he suddenly stopped and he said to me in Spanish, he said, "You're speaking just like Cervantes." And then anyway, the language evolved. It's not pure 15th century Spanish. A few Greek and Turkish and Hebrew words have crept in, and some Spanish and Italian even. But it's essentially Old Spanish.
Portuguese as well?
There's a lot of Portuguese words in it. I found that when I was traveling in Portugal and in Brazil, I was able to communicate very well with them.
Ah, that's so interesting. So it's kind of like a mixture?
Yeah.
A melting pot?
A melting pot. Mostly Spanish, though.
Now, how do we know that they are Conversos?
Okay, my family were not Conversos. We've always been Spanish, but a little bit of history. In 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella ordered that all the Jews in Spain must either convert to Catholicism or leave the country. My family.
What do you mean when you say you're not a converso? Were you Jewish or not Jewish, or were you...
Okay, the term converso means convert. Those that did not want to convert left the country. My ancestors left the country. Others remained in Spain and became Catholics. but a number of them continued to practice Judaism in secret. And we're finding today, 500 years later, many of their descendants still are practicing Judaism. Many of them did not know that they were descended from Jews, but they had certain family practices that were odd. And in researching them, they found out these were Jewish practices.
Is that why it's crypto in secret?
Yeah, it's called crypto because they practice Judaism secretly.
And what is actually the difference between Morranos and Conversos?
Okay, technically, the term converso refers to any convert. Many of them became Catholics and lost their Judaism altogether. A number of them continued with some of their Jewish traditions. The word Morrano is a derogatory term. It means swine in Spanish. Interestingly, though, it's not derogatory in Portuguese. So there's the synagogue in Porto, Portugal, that was established by a number of crypto Jews who then returned openly to Judaism, and they call in the front of their synagogue, and you can see it today, it's called the Morrano Synagogue.
Wow, that's very interesting. Stay tuned.